Today, we're diving into what might be one of the riskiest surgeries in tech history: Amazon's massive project to give Alexa an AI brain transplant. The idea was to make it the smartest assistant on the planet. But what they ended up with was something else entirely. Let's get into it. For years, Alexa was our trusty sidekick for the simple stuff: playing a song, setting a timer, the drill. But then conversational AI like ChatGPT just burst onto the scene, and suddenly our old friends started to feel, well, a little bit dated. It became super clear that to keep up, Alexa didn't just need a software update. No, it needed a whole new brain. So Amazon went all in. They launched this huge, high-stakes project to literally swap out Alexa's old, rule-based brain and replace it with the same kind of powerful tech that runs these new chatbots. This wasn't just another product update. It was a desperate race to make sure Alexa stayed right there at the heart of our smart homes. Okay, so what's the actual difference here? Well, it's massive. The old Alexa, it was built to understand very specific, almost pre-programmed commands. You kind of had to learn to speak Alexa to get what you wanted. But these new AI chatbots, they run on what are called large language models, or LLMs. And they're way more flexible. They can understand complex, messy, conversational language, the way real people actually talk. But here is the real challenge, the billion-dollar question for Amazon. They couldn't just throw out the old Alexa and start fresh. They had to somehow merge these new, amazing conversational skills with the rock-solid, reliable system that millions and millions of us count on every single day. They were trying to get the best of both worlds, and the trick was doing it without breaking the simple stuff that just worked. And you know what? At first, the results were genuinely pretty amazing. So let's talk about the good news, because there was a lot of it. Let's look at the incredible new things this upgraded assistant, which they called Alexa Plus, could actually pull off. The new version was seriously impressive. It spoke with a much more human-like rhythm and voice. It could handle multi-step commands, like asking it to turn on the lights and play a specific playlist. It could even book a real reservation at a restaurant for you. And maybe best of all, you could have a real back and forth without having to say Alexa, Alexa, again and again. It was a huge step up. And this is where you can really see the creative power. When the author asked for a bedtime story, the new Alexa didn't just read one from a digital library. Oh no, it made one up on the spot. It generated a totally original story about a dinosaur who dreamed of being a firefighter. I mean, that's a kind of spontaneous creativity the old Alexa couldn't even begin to fathom. Okay, but here comes the other shoe. All of that new intelligence, all those cool new tricks, they came with a really big, really frustrating catch. For every 2 impressive steps forward, it felt like it took 1 giant step back. To put it bluntly, the new Alexa was often just broken. Despite all these flashy new skills, the basic day-to-day experience became completely unpredictable. It wasn't just lagging behind the competition. In some pretty crucial ways, it was actually worse than the dumber original Alexa it was supposed to replace. And we're not talking about it failing at complex tasks. We're talking about failures on the absolute basics. The author asked it to cancel an alarm, a command the old Alexa would nail 100% of the time, and the new one just ignored him. It couldn't find and summarize a document he'd emailed, and sometimes it would just get stuck, repeating these canned error messages like, "Oh no, my wires got crossed." The new Alexa also had this weird habit of just making things up. It's a problem in the AI world that they actually call a hallucination. For instance, when asked for Wirecutter's best-rated box grader, it confidently said it was the OXO model, but that's just wrong. The real recommendation was a completely different brand. Now imagine if a user trusted that answer. They'd go out and buy the wrong product based on totally false info. So what in the world was going on here? Why was this supposedly smarter brain so much less reliable? Well, to get that, we need to pop the hood and look at the core technical problem that Amazon was trying to solve. The old Alexa was what you'd call deterministic. Think of it like a calculator. You punch in a specific command, it follows a strict set of rules, and you get the exact same predictable answer every single time. The new Alexa, it's stochastic. It works on probabilities. It's always guessing the next most likely word or action.
And while that makes it super creative and flexible, it also makes it inherently less reliable. It's less of a perfect calculator and more of a, sometimes flaky, creative partner.
And this new probabilistic brain caused other really annoying problems. In an early demo, it apparently took a full 30 seconds just to play a song. And its creativity could get really out of hand. You'd ask for a simple 10-minute timer, and instead of just setting it, Alexa might give you a 500-word essay on the history of timekeeping. Not exactly helpful. So, how did Amazon try to solve this mess? Their solution just shows you how incredibly complicated this all is. They basically stitched together more than 70 different AI models. Some were from Amazon, some were from other companies. Their system had to work like a high-speed traffic cop, instantly figuring out where to send every single request. This one goes to the timer model, that one goes to the storytelling model, and then somehow make it all sound like it was coming from a single, seamless personality. Which brings us to the final verdict. When you weigh the cool new tricks against the day-to-day screw-ups, is the new Alexa really an improvement? What's the final takeaway from this whole experiment? In the end, the author's decision was pretty telling. He actually downgraded his devices, rolling them back to the old, dumber, but more dependable version of Alexa. He chose reliability over raw intelligence, and that says a lot about what we actually value in the technology we let into our daily lives. And this whole experience really points to a bigger truth about this new era of AI. The technology itself is incredible, there's no doubt about it. But the real challenge is figuring out how to blend it into the tools we depend on without breaking them. Because as this experiment shows, raw intelligence is one thing, but trust and reliability, that's what really matters. So we'll leave you with this question to chew on. As AI gets more and more powerful, we're all going to face this kind of dilemma. At what point does smarter technology actually become better technology instead of just more complicated? That's the big question we're all going to be figuring out together.